Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining and attending Frames. We are Shannon and Jonathan, co-founders of Collective Exchange. Collective Exchange is a creative agency and that believes in technology, can enhance our work in collaboration with colleagues. We are very focused on researching, exposing, and sharing all things creative and innovative through events such as this one, workshops, and we have a tailored consultancy.
You're obviously probably wondering what Frames is itself. Well, Frames is the first official event hosted by Collective Exchange, and we are very excited and thrilled with the lineup of artists and films we're going to show. Now, the mission of Frames itself, to give you a little summary, is to empower performers and artists to communicate and share creativity through screens, because that's kind of where we are at today in this world. In the past year, we've all seen our lives go through heavy, unprecedented changes, forcing us to literally shift every perspective of the way we live. These kind of shifts has forced us to literally reframe our lives and embrace technology in a new way, or just in a way that helps us stay focused and connected with the world around us. That said, we do hope you enjoy all the great work that the artists have shared with us, and now they're going to share with you. And regarding that, the full program is about an hour and 20 minutes, give or take. We will have a 5-minute intermission and then 2 Q&A sessions with the artists themselves, so feel free to add as many questions as you want in the chat. Just feel free, we'll pick them all up and talk. Also, we encourage you to ask questions, like more so, and then, like I said, just keep adding them.
And feel free to use that little, whichever way I'm pointing. There's a chat box on this side or this side. And then one last logistical note. So we are relying on technology, and we all know that technology is not perfect, and sometimes it goes on the fritz. If, for some reason, this live stream randomly ends when it doesn't look like it's supposed to, please check your emails because there might have to be another YouTube link issued. We don't foresee that happening, and our fingers are crossed. However, just in case something happens, we want you to be prepared. So, without waiting too much longer, we'll go ahead and get it started. But thank you again for joining, and we hope you enjoy the program.
Namumukrat ang kabusin at tersada. Pero itpan mukaw good, kahit alingugug ni nanay nga nasa ring mata na. Naiiba ng latak aringit, pakabatihan tabsikit asyete hakarahangan alinyong it pamahaw. Nagtatapon na laot ng pakiray kunti sakay na harutonda. Labi na nga damot kaagaw nga ig kasi nanging eskwela. Pag ulpot a klase, kan mambusa patak na haabtan. Mas tuhoy tak pamahong-pahong hagabi. Madulong kwarto, mamingaw na kunti katurog. Waray busina, waray alingugngug, waray kaagaw pagpara. Mamingaw yan at karsada, unta, sugad hiniit aga. Yan na, balikad, namumuhay-puhay na takmata hapag duaw hit adlaw. Mahalayahay takpamati, waray busina, waray alingugngug, waray napara. Hapag lusad, aadanaan pamahaw, hinanay di rin yan muhukaw. Klaro kan nanay pamatihan na, samtang din papauswagan na balsing ang kortina, ang nasulod nga sira kapintana, nahimugsuan ka baraka, nabungay ka kulpa, napadagnit kunuit musika hapag tuboy tanaman. Bangila siya nagtitikadigunit kapyut ang mga ugat hini nga kakulba, ang dugan kada nalabay duwang wangit gabi hapag siguro ang among kabutangan. Maiya maluka din nga kakulba, asay panganan mukad na ang kahadlok tikang han may nagpositibo. Mamingaw yan ay tersada. Pero unta, bumalik na ang mga hadtong aga.
Okay, Ryan, just breathe. This is fine. Nothing's wrong. I mean, look at the waves. Everything's fine. Breathe in and out. Why do waves crash?
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, but like, here's the thing though. Maybe you're looking at
I'm
ice beverage
crashing.
and that cools you down too.
I'm crashing further and further, and no one else notices because no one else does this, and it's just me. What's wrong with me? Ryan, nothing's wrong with you. Hey, yeah, maybe this is why they can't connect you, because they're all sitting here laughing and having a good time, and you're self-destructing yourself like you want
That
to.
was great until past January.
Stop.
Okay,
stop. I'm having a good time. I'm relaxed. It's fine. I don't connect with them. Is that true? Okay. Breathe. Everything's fine. I'm fine. I'm friends. I'm here. Happy. Breathe. What if they don't actually like me? I mean, is that all I am to them? You gotta remember what your parents said in 9th grade, how it isn't enough. Your grades, your 2 friends. No, actually, no, I don't remember that because No, I don't remember that because it wasn't a big deal. It was nothing. It was fine. Nothing I do. Everything I do is fine. It's enough. And if it wasn't enough, it'd be okay, right? It'd be fine. What is what I do enough? No, it's not. That's why you're sitting here failing. Sitting here and failing to laugh with them, to connect with them, to enjoy yourself. It's the beach, for fuck's sake. I mean, who gets anxious on a beach? Me, because I'm useless and I'm a disappointment, and God, no wonder they don't fucking like me. Because I'm dead weight. Like driftwood. I'm drifting along, gross and unnoticeable, not like the waves. The waves are beautiful, and I'm not. You're being dramatic. Breathe. Everything's fine. You're having a good time. I mean, it's a great day out, and it's a great day out. Just enjoy yourself, God. Can't you do anything right? And this is why. Is this why Senior, she said no? Rather not. Rather not what? Oh my God, I'm ugly. See, that's why she doesn't want to be with me, because I'm ugly, and God, that's enough! Just breathe. I just want to... I just want to relax. I just want to relax. Why can't I relax? Why can't I?
They're green the whole time, then they're red, and then they're dead. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, where was the they thrive because they thrive. I'm like, this is the whole season, bro.
All right.
Okay.
We are here for the Q&A.
I got pizza.
All of our artists can hear us, yeah?
Sweet.
Cool. Good
All right.
stuff. The first thing we want to do is we want to ask all the artists to just tell us where you're from, like right now. So then our audience knows. Whoever wants to go first.
Pennsylvania.
Nice.
Jordan.
I'm from Philippines.
Yeah.
New York.
Woo! Same. Who else?
Mark.
Pete, where are you from? He's from the Netherlands.
What about Margaret?
So I said Boston.
Oh yeah, Boston, yeah.
Nice.
Cool. All right. Jonathan's gonna get started.
Yes, I'll be moderating this with a couple of questions. First, I want to ask if there is any immediate questions you guys have for each other, like before I start asking my own questions. Anything in particular that stood out? And don't be shy.
I can't remember who made the film where there's a phone screen in the middle. Who was it?
Hold on.
Wait, we didn't hear you that well. What was that question again?
No, I just wanted to say how smart that idea was. I'm so fascinated.
Which one?
The idea of the phone screen in the middle.
Oh, Margaret.
Yeah. You did great.
Yeah, Margaret, tell us, because I know Jonathan's wondering why you named the piece By Side By.
Well, this piece was named with Mike. Why you named it By Side By? Do you want to answer Mike?
We were just thinking about how we weren't side by side, and how, especially with dance, it's very, you want to be in the room together, figuring things out side by side, and we're all just so alone together, we thought we'd just flip the words up and see what kind of vibe came out.
Right. And you composed the music, correct?
Yes.
Did you compose the music first and then Margaret do the dance, or did you do it like together? Yeah, Rachel also has the same question. What came first, the music or the movement or the compass?
I think it was iterative, like we went back and forth. I would throw out ideas, Margaret would throw out ideas, and we just kept going back and forth until we felt like we landed on something.
Yeah, it was like a 4-month process.
Wow, that's intense. Wow. Can I ask about the movements? Like any particular sort of driver or inspiration behind the movements? Because they're very fluid.
Well, we started off with the 4 directions of a compass. So there were 4 sections. Originally, they were supposed to be in a random order, and they kind of ended up this way.
Can I jump in? Margaret's selling herself short on one thing that I want to point out, which is that she, for months and months in this pandemic, goes out every day into an area behind where she lives and she films herself dancing. And so, in a way, By Side By, what we're seeing is part of a much larger thing that Margaret's doing, which is almost like a journal, a visual journal. And so a lot of these moves, I don't want to put too many words in your mouth, Margaret, but they've sort of emerged over time of her figuring out how she's feeling that day, or how she's feeling that week, that month, in the pandemic in 2020, blah, blah, blah. So it's a really beautiful vocabulary that's come out. I think she's found a really generous energy, but it's also like an energy of a really commitment to this one thing almost every day. It's really powerful.
Mhm.
Just shouting out my collaborator. Sorry.
That's awesome. Thank you. I do have a question for AJ. How soon after the pandemic started did you make this piece? Because clearly, right, it's influenced by everything that's happening. So, like, was it like a week after everything shut down, or was it like a month in?
Actually, the lockdown was like around. The lockdown started in my city in the Philippines, in Tacloban. It was around March, and this piece was done at. The process was from April to May. So it was like the first, let's say, 3 months after the lockdown in our locality. Yeah.
Right.
Cool. Can I talk about sort of the inspiration behind? Because it's about the phone, and then the phone just kind of like lights up and does those things. Like, what was the inspiration behind those kind of sequences?
How I interpreted it. We started with the poem. My colleague who was the writer of the poem gave me the poem, and he gave me the freedom into how would I want to interpret it into a film. And the poem talks about a day-to-day life as a basis of what was the difference from before the pandemic and after and during the pandemic. And how I came to a point where I fished out a common factor before and during the pandemic that we were more linked with social media. We were linked to our phones, to the internet, with us not being able to go out to meet our friends or to do our job. We now accomplish them through these technologies like the phone, the laptop. So I came up with, let's just use the phone and let the phone speak as a witness of what was it like before and during the pandemic, and how much has changed since then.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
Let's see. Haley wants to know for Pete, was your movement with the phones choreographed or was it improvised? Wait, you're muted. Here, I got you. There you go.
Perfect. I have to complain. I'm not like choreographer or dancer by any means. I'm just a designer. So it's sort of born out from me collaborating a few dancers that we were able to actually have workshops that we ran together to look particularly at some of the movement that we have already had, like the more the way that we constantly the ever more pleasant experience of sort of seeing each other on screens and how do we behave around it. For example, if I have to teach my mom how to use a FaceTime, for example, there's a particular way that she behaves, and then how do you sort of elaborate on that? How do you sort of push it even further? What if you can sort of perhaps create a performance or a film entirely based on the way that we behave or the way that we record ourselves? That was sort of the beginning point of it. So we really just started off as like a workshop of me with a bunch of dancers and then sort of looking at the way they record themselves. Like an example that we can give is instead of using a mirror as a way that we look at ourselves through the performance rehearsal, we cover the entire mirrors where they are only able to record or look at their own movement through the way that they record themselves. So that's pretty much the premise of it, really.
That makes sense. And Mike wants to see more of it. He says it should be longer.
Yeah. We definitely like to work more on it. I think, the idea born out of the COVID, we only sort of had about like a week to work on it before we had to finalize it. But right now, we would really love to be able to involve more people, hopefully more dancers, more choreography, to sort of work together with a piece. Like the ideal scenario would be if we can have multiple screens with, if we have 10 dancers, we have 10 different screens showing the 10 different dancers recording themselves. that would be sort of the ideal scenario.
No, yeah, really cool. Yeah. I want to ask a bunch more questions, but we're going to shift for a second. Rachel had actually a question for Sumaya, and she wanted to know how did you develop the character? Like, what drove those stories?
So my story is about, I don't know if you guys got the concept, but I made it as an experimental short movie, so everyone gets it in their own way. But my main idea was it's about overprotective parents and how they can harm and damage their children by overprotecting them. So mainly the inspiration was from plants. I just, like, my main idea was a little plant living under a big shadow that's her tree mom. And for the character development, I was inspired by a lot of different movies. Because especially in the process of making this film, I kept on recording videos of myself doing the animations and the movements so I can get them right and make them as original as possible. But I can't really detect from where my inspiration was because it was from a lot of different places. I don't know if you have anything to add to that. Maybe you can see it. Like some people, like a lot of different people look at it in like different ways. So I don't know what you think about it.
So Sergey, he's one of our friends. He's watching. He does have actually. It's kind of the same question. He wrote on here, in your piece, the relationship between the little tree and its mother seems rather ambivalent. It's presented as asphyxiating at first, but then it ends in a very touching way. And then he had said, could you talk a bit more about the sentiment behind this piece? Which is basically what we just talked about. But that's what he thinks, and I can see it like that. It was very interesting, like the way it ends with the tree. Like, I was startled at first, the way it ends with the tree being like broken. What was like the symbolism of it being broken?
Okay, so through the whole film, the little plant is being under a big shadow, and that is preventing her from growing up, and the sun isn't getting to her, and she's just little and weak the whole time. And even when an animal that tries to be friends with her, that will not harm her. Her mother will just push them away. Even when the bee came and she just wanted to for the flower, the mother also pushed her away, which is not harmful for the kid. Like the little squirrel won't hurt her, and the little girl, the girl just wanted a friend. But the mother was so afraid, and she was just so careful of her daughter. She just kept on pushing everything away because her whole fear the whole time, the mother, that the daughter will leave her someday if she just gave her some freedom. Mm-hmm. But at the end, and how the mother also as well thinks that if she left her daughter for 1 second, the daughter wouldn't be alive without her, wouldn't survive, and that the daughter would just go away immediately. So when the storm happens and the mother is very scared of her own daughter, that she sacrifices herself by protecting her little kid. When they wake up the next day, I don't know if you remember, but when the daughter is so excited because she's now finally free and the sun gets in her and she's finally happy. The mother gets very sad because she thinks the daughter is going to leave now, and now she gets her freedom, and that's it. But the main point is that when our parents give us some freedom, that doesn't mean that we'll leave them forever. Like, they are our main, like, they're rooted in us, and no matter what happens in the world, they'll be there, and they will still be our mothers, no matter what happens. So that's why, and even though like the mother was damaged, the daughter did not leave her. Yeah. So it just shows the relationship between them both.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
That's so nice. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to transfer over for a second here, and Aaron, want to ask a question. Sort of touching on the subject of asphyxiation, leading off from Sumaya's video or film. Crash is more like an internal monologue, right? Something that goes on in everyone's heads, I'm sure. And it's interesting that you present this in the sense of like frames and the pandemic, because I'm sure we're all having these crazy internal struggles, like daily at this point. But I guess I wanted to ask you, what was, for lack of better words, what was the driver between that particular internal struggle of your character in Crash?
Actually, the whole story was inspired by a friend I met in university, and I was like the whole years of like when I knew her, and I saw how her friends were reacting towards her and how much they were just crushing her in so many ways, and they're just always like hiding her in this little box, and how that was affecting her because I was his best friend, and she was just kept telling me how that thing is affecting her. I was like, oh my god, that is such a big problem, especially in the Arab world, and no one is talking about like overprotective parents. I know like some people who take it as a like a parenting style, but it's so much more, and it causes so much damage to the kids. And actually, I can say that the results of it. With the kids right now, like most of them have a lot of mental illness and issues developing their world and they don't know how to make decisions. Like the bad effect was so much, was so bad. So I just wanted to give awareness to parents that it could be like a parenting style, but they shouldn't follow it like all the way because it's not the best. Because it's in the end of the day, they'll just damage their kids, and that's not what we want.
I hear you. Cool. Okay. Thank you for explaining that. That's awesome. I want to ask Aaron a question. Because I know, Aaron, whenever you submitted your film, you had a little statement about something that now is like special about it. I don't want to like give it away, but like you probably know what I'm talking about. Like, what makes it like special now, or kind of like bittersweet, if you will?
Can you hear me? First of all, can you hear me? So with Crash, it was very special because everything kind of mimicked the waves of the ocean. So what it was my monologue was going back and forth between an anxiety track, and with that it became kind of like the waves of the ocean, and then we went one step further and we actually put our camera, we dragged it all the way onto the beach, which was ridiculous. And we kind of mimicked that camera movement of him going in and out of his anxiety attack. So if you notice when you watch the film, as his anxiety it gets worse and worse, the camera goes closer and closer into him because it's kind of closing in on him, and he feels as though he's crashing. And I thought that, excuse the noise, but I just have such love for this film, and it can be a film that could be slightly triggering or hard to watch, but in the end I think it's important to realize that there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes in someone's head, and it's important to check in on everyone around you.
Yeah, especially now. But yeah, and I really love the fact of it that the scene is, I like how you said that it's like the waves are kind of like heavy and they're crashing, and that I do relate that now to like anxiety, but it's like when you first see it, it's kind of like, it's serene, right? It's like you think of the ocean and the beach, and it's like, oh, very pretty. So when we first were watching it, it was very enjoyable, and then by the end of it, it's like, oh, so it's like, you know, when you originally like in how you project what a beach is to like how this is in the film is contrasting, but it's very beautiful. It was very well done.
It's fine.
Do you have a question?
That was kind of waiting for that. No, actually, I really like the whole monologue concept. This is very, very interesting. Do you feel like that film reflects anything that's going on like today? Like the fact that, you know, we're living under such interesting conditions?
I think you're muted.
Oh.
I'm trying to unmute you.
Oh no. Wait for it.
Oh yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Can you hear us now?
Was there another question?
Yeah.
I can hear you now.
Oh man, that's good.
Jonathan asked something.
All I always wanted to ask was, do you feel like the internal monologue that your character is going through reflects sort of today, like the experiences that we're all having today?
Oh my god, yes, absolutely. And it's funny because we filmed this a year ago, basically to this day, and we had not known what COVID was. So with everything going on, it's very ironic that this has come to fruition and how much anxiety has kind of plagued our country in this past year. It's funny because I look back a year ago, we didn't have to wear masks on set. We got to sit next to each other. We were laughing the whole day. It's such a beautiful day to film. And now we film this, it looks so different. It's just a year later can mean so much more than it did a year ago.
Right. And it's kind of relieving in a way, or not relieving, maybe like comforting in a way to like see things like that, and it's like you're like, I'm not alone, which I think then it speaks to like everybody.
No one is.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, well, that was just the first half. Thank you all, and for everybody watching, we're gonna take a quick 5 minutes. We're gonna take a quick 5 minute, what's it called, intermission, and then we'll be back for the second half.
Oh, it's you, I know, you're the one I dream of. Look into my eyes, take me to the clouds above. Oh, I lose control, can't seem to get enough. When I wake from dreaming, tell me, is it really love? How will I know? How will I know? How will I know? How will I know? How will I know if you really love me? I say a prayer with every heartbeat. I fall in love whenever we meet. I'm asking you, but you know that I see things. How will I know if you're thinking of me? I try to phone, but I'm too shy, can't speak. Falling in love is so bittersweet. This love is strong, why do I feel weak? If you love me, oh, I'm shaking. If you love me not, wish I had you near me now. Do you love me? Oh, baby, do you love me not? Hey. Oh, how will I know? How will I know if you really love me? I say a prayer with every heartbeat. I fall in love whenever we meet. I'm asking you, but you know that I see things. O sol, manhã de flor e sal, e areia no batom. Todo homem precisa de uma mãe. E o céu se abre de manhã. Abrigo encobo em chão. Todo homem precisa de uma mãe.
I am a box, just like everyone else here. Am I even special when there's billions of us here? All boxes. Am I special? Am I unique? These small differences about me, are they imperfections? My cuts, my crumpled corners, the tape that I ever so desperately pasted in an attempt to hold myself together? There's so many things wrong about me, but we all have our own imperfections. All boxes do. So what makes me special? Is it the contents I hold, the stamps on my postage, the numbers inked onto me, the material which I'm made of? Some boxes are metal, some wood, some cardboard, but are we not all the same to an extent? Or maybe I could wrap myself up, cover myself with pretty multicolored papers, and give to myself to someone special. Maybe then I'd be appreciated. Maybe then I'd mean something to someone. Or maybe I seal myself in plastic wrap and maybe even layers of bubble wrap, all to keep myself safe from others. No one could use me. But would I mean anything to anyone? Why do boxes even exist? To be used, discarded, and forgotten, to spend our whole lives as boxes trapped just to work in more boxes? Is this all there is to life? Who knows? Maybe after enough use and wear and tear and shipping and tape and opening and closing and all and piling and storing and all those things, enough. When will this all be enough? When will I mean anything? I am a box.
I was hauled off by the Nazis. And for no other reason, I was picked up and separated from my family, who was exterminated in Auschwitz. And I am a survivor of Auschwitz and Dachau. I spent 5.5 years in concentration camp because we picked on people. And you as the sheriff, who we elected as sheriff of this county, it's about time you serve the people here. And when this gentleman stands up there and he says he doesn't go after any people, he should read today's B. Because in today's B, the Supreme Court Justice of the State of California objected to ICE coming in and taking people away from the courts. Don't tell me that this is a lie. You stand up here, Mr. Jones. Don't forget, history is not on your side.
All right. And we are back. So now we have Hans, Haley, and Rachel. So we have 2 questions here for Hans. So we'll start with you. Our friend Sergey, his comment, he has a comment with like 2 questions. He says, in any design-related field, we always have to negotiate a relationship between a fast sketch and a refined digital product, and all of us sketch differently. Some people sketch on paper, others sketch in 3D. There are even those who sketch in code. What's your process for getting from an idea to a finished animation? And he also wants to know, what's your design software of choice, whether Blender, Maya, or C4D, or something else?
Or something else.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, before this, I was working on more of a traditional style animation. And then, so while taking on this animation, I wanted to do it in 3D because I got so sick of drawing. So actually, through this whole process, I didn't draw anything. My ideas just went from words, because I wrote my script and I wrote the visuals I wanted. So directly from words, I transitioned to 3D. Because I already had a clear image in my head of how I wanted the shots to turn out. So I didn't really bother sketching because I already knew what I wanted it to look like.
Very cool.
And I prefer using Cinema 4D for my work.
Do you use anything else? Are you using Cinema 4D as your full pipeline package, or do you do anything else?
No, I was also using Photoshop and After Effects for this project, as well as Premiere for cutting the clips together.
Yeah.
Very cool. Nice. Sumaya actually had another question to follow up for you, Hans. She says, Hans, your metaphor was genius, and it felt like I've always had this feeling but never know how to define, but now I definitely know it's a box. Can you please tell me how you came up with this idea?
Because actually for the class, we had to create an art piece about identity. And I knew I wanted to do something in 3D because I love 3D, but I've never done an animation inside it. This is my first 3D animation. And I was looking, and I don't have that much skill in making characters. So I was thinking, how can I represent myself? And at first I was thinking of doing something simple like a ball, which can still have lots of meanings. But as I was looking around my room, there was some stuff which I still had to unpack, and they were in these boxes. So I thought, actually, boxes have so many things unique about them, even though they're all fundamentally the same. Why don't I just make it about boxes, since it's easier for me to represent with how comfortable I am in terms of my skill, and as well as in terms of relating meaning, I'm more comfortable with it. So that's why.
Right. I love that it was like the box, because I felt it was very, like, there's something like, I don't know, like ironic about it, because I immediately think of Amazon and how much we rely on like this service to deliver us so many packages. And then you just, especially now, like now we have like everything delivered more than like we did prior, or even in the past like 5-10 years. And it's just like our kitchen gets full of boxes, like so easily and so quickly. And yeah, I think there's like many layers the way that you could like unpeel the boxes and people. So yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Well, I do have one more question for Hans, though. One last thing is, you mentioned it was a student school project, right? Or a project?
Yeah, it was for an art class.
Okay. So my actual question is like, when people make these animations of all kinds, like it's heavy to be the sort of sole author of the modeling, texturing, rigging, animating, rendering, composing, like script writer. Like, how is it, sort of wrapping your head around all of that? Even you said you spoke the words.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like, it's a lot to encompass, but like, I guess my question is like, how is that process? Like, how is it handling all those things at once?
Well, I'm kind of used to working on projects on my own, especially like now because of social distancing. Since I now live in a different city and province from my friends, I have to do most of my projects on my own now. But yeah, it was quite a challenge because of what you mentioned with character rigging, modeling, etc. That's why I picked the box, so I could skip all those steps.
Yeah.
But it was still a challenge figuring out, okay, how can I represent this, and how do I write it, since I'm not so confident in my own writing. But then on the other side of all those challenges, so much of doing it all by myself, in a way, it is also much more streamlined for myself, since I already knew what I wanted to get in the end from when I started. So in a way, it was a seamless transition from working between different things. Although it was still somewhat really hard for me because I didn't know how I was going to represent it visually sometimes. But yeah, although actually this process is not really super individual, since I asked a lot of my friends throughout the process for feedback regarding script, and also regarding the animation. So through their comments, I also revised it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure all of us can agree that the creative process is often filled with discovery. Like, you have to just iterate and come up with ideas as you go on. I have many more questions. Shannon, would you like to ask something?
I do want to ask Rachel something. Like, so I don't know. I'm sure like everybody got like what your piece was about. Two things about this. I'm really interested in the scene. So what Holocaust sculpture or like museum, that area, like where was that? And then two, the fog that was coming out. Was that just like somehow, did you do the fog? Is that like fake in Premiere or something? Or is that just something that happens like in the park?
So that site is the New England Holocaust Memorial in downtown Boston. And the steam, it has 6 columns. And there's lots of things said about what those columns are meant to represent. And they really resemble chimneys. And there's always smoke coming up from the bottom. It actually, when we filmed, it happened to downpour on us, which seemed like
seemed right.
Like a real shame at first. We were like, oh, rats, we'll have to use the rain date. We ended up continuing in the rain, and the rain and the before the storm and while it was raining and afterwards actually created a lot more smoke than normally comes out of the memorial in each column, which was it ended up being positive because it added a lot to the dramatic elements, but that wasn't anything that we added on in an editing process. It's part of the memorial.
That was part of it. That's awesome. I love it.
Cool.
And how long ago did y'all film this? Because like people are wearing masks, so this is like in pandemic, right?
Yeah, during the pandemic. We filmed it in late August of this year.
Okay.
And we created the piece from May to August of 2020. So it was all made during the pandemic.
Yeah, nice. Was it one? I guess twofold. They could connect. How was it? Like, what was your starting inspiration to make this? And did you have this inspiration pre-pandemic? And if you did or you didn't, how was it? How did it change the creation process, creating this specific piece with this specific theme within a pandemic? Like, did it change your experience or dancer's experience, the like meaning, the message of it? Yeah, like how did those two things like connect in a way?
Yeah, so the inspiration for this piece, it's part of an ongoing project. It's part of an ongoing project series that I've been working on called Zafur, which seeks to honor and preserve the words of World War II Holocaust survivors using dance. And this piece specifically was made on honoring memories of Holocaust survivors on the selection process in Nazi concentration camps. And originally, I've had some other works as part of the umbrella of Zafur, and we were going to have a residency at a theater in Boston for this past summer. Obviously, this past summer was not the time to be creating live dance in small black box theaters, but we had began the creation process earlier in the pandemic and ended up pivoting to create this dance film this summer. It definitely, working remotely and working in this new way definitely altered the creation process. I would actually say it did so for the better, because a huge part of this work is not just like portraying the stories and honoring the memories of these survivors to audience members, but it's a really immersive process for the dancers, and it becomes very educational for the dancers to take on these stories, to study these stories, to understand them and embody them and be able to share them with others. So because we had the amount of time that we were planning on spending creating an evening-length work to create this 6-minute work as a dance film, the dancers were able to really study and understand and embody these stories in a very powerful way. So that's something I enjoyed about this process, was the additional time that the pandemic allotted us to get deeper into the research behind the work.
Right. Yeah, I can see that. And like as a dancer, I feel like we don't research things enough when you're like creating for live. So that's a really interesting point to bring up, because I hadn't thought about that this does kind of allow us the space and the time to research more and to understand more like what we're doing. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I would say that the hustle and bustle of the dance world, sometimes the choreographers spend a great deal of time doing their research, and even as a dancer, I feel like, everything's just so rushed, and we have limited time, limited funds, that you don't always have the ability to really understand what it is you are dancing about. And for this work, it was so important for me that the dancers do understand those stories and can share them not only in their performance but afterwards as well. And that was like a small perk of the time the pandemic gave us.
Yeah, that's great.
Speaking about working with technology and what's available to us and researching, Haley, I have a lot of questions, just because like you had this what seemed to be like a pre-recorded version of yourself on the screen, but I couldn't really tell. But then what really like was intriguing is like you had it respond to your movements. Like there was one moment where you were able to move your hands, and then the screen started basically like sketch, whatever. Color disappeared as you moved your hands. And I was just curious, obviously I want to hear about your piece and what drove you to it, but also kind of like what kind of tech or what kind of, what did you use to visualize it?
Yeah, so the technology is really interesting. It actually was live feedback happening while I was recording. So that wasn't pre-recorded, it was on the projection screen. So I used the Xbox Kinect camera, which is an infrared camera, and it's a really cool device because it reads all of your body points as data points. So you can use those data points for like an infinite amount of things.
So I used the software program Isadora, which was created by Mark Caniglio and named after the famous modern dance pioneer Isadora Duncan. And it's this great creative engine for live feedback as well as pre and post production. So like those edits through the mirror where my face was kind of like a ghostly glassy figure was edited post production. But everything else, like the projection screen, was happening live. So like the box is moving, the part where it turns black and white shifting, that was all live feedback from the Xbox. And you know, I spent like a whole year teaching myself how to use Isadora as a part of my senior project at Boston Conservatory. And originally this piece was performative. I choreographed it on one of my friends, and then COVID happened, and I was like, all right, dance film, here we go, rework everything. So made it into a film, and had the help of my dad, who's a lighting designer, to create a little front yard black box theater vibe and do all of that together, which was honestly a really rewarding experience as far as COVID experiences and pivoting goes. And then like as far as the concept, so another one of my classes that I was taking at the time, senior year, was dramaturgy. So dramaturgy is a lot about research, and like Rachel was saying, research is one of those like hardest things about being a dancer and being in the dance industry. So I spent a lot of time researching imposter syndrome and the Dunning-Kruger effect. And imposter syndrome is this psychological effect of feeling like a fraud or a phony or not being good enough, generally found in people who are high achievers or perfectionists and are unable to internalize their success. And then the Dunning-Kruger effect is kind of the opposite of imposter syndrome. It describes a cognitive bias of people who are incompetent at an ability or a status or something like that, but portray a large amount of confidence. So it's kind of like you have the Dunning-Kruger side of things, where you have people who may not have the most competency at a skill, but be the most confident in the way they present themselves in the world. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum is imposter syndrome, where you have these really high achieving people who don't portray a lot of confidence because they feel like they're a fraud or phony. So I worked all of that together narratively into this kind of story of this character who was myself, becoming detached from this sense of who they are and slipping away from reality into this spiraling internal monologue, dreamlike sequence of experiencing both of those emotions and trying to find where they fit in on this spectrum of like psychological awareness of self-identity. So you see the character, slip out of reality and go into this chaotic sense, all driven by the Connect and Isadora and all of those features, and having the mirror, of course, be a metaphor for the idea of imposter syndrome and this self-awareness, as well as a tool for the point of view of the Connect camera. So the Connect camera was actually right underneath the mirror when I was doing it. So that perspective from the Connect camera was the perspective of the mirror. So yeah,
that's good. How the ending, when like you turn your head and you like move further away, was that like one or the other of those like psychological like I don't know what they're called, but you know what I'm talking about? Like yeah, totally. So
I feel like I kind of, after the whole erasing sequence, leave it up to the viewer to decide. I feel like it could go one of two ways. Like that erasing sequence could be me erasing that mask and that phony feeling of self, or it could be me erasing my own positive experience of my identity. So it's really like up to the viewer to decide. And then as I slip back into reality and those boxes come back together, it's kind of like repiecing your self-identity and Humpty Dumpty almost building itself back together as far as psyche goes. And that moment with switching the heads is definitely a moment where you find a sense of wholeness, but also I feel like there's still a lot of emptiness in that moment. So I like to leave that up to you all to decide.
Sumaya has a question. She says, did you feel like you were giving part of yourself throughout the whole process to the world? I felt like you performed full-heartedly, and I think it is so brave.
Aw. Thank you, Samaya. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I spent, basically a whole year going into this work, and when COVID hit, I was like, I just spent so much time between all of my classes and all of my research building this work. I can't just let it slip and do something else for my senior project because COVID hit. And jumping into the role of the dancer, which wasn't the original plan, was something that I had to just be like, all right, full force, let me go for it. And I finished choreographing this dance. And I feel like, losing the last 6 weeks of senior year at that point in time was like a very raw experience for me. So I was channeling a lot of the emotions that I was feeling into the work as well and the movement that I was doing.
Yeah, I feel that. How is last question? Unless you have a last question. Because like you talked about, you spent a lot of time learning that software Isadora, which I love because I'm an Isadora Duncan dancer. How was the experience of like learning that software like as a dancer? Because I also have like the same experience. Like I now have gone into technology, and so like I feel like I have this imposter syndrome thing that I'm like, well, I'm a dancer. Well, I can't like learn this, but like you can obviously. So what was the experience of just learning like that software?
It was interesting. So my journey with dance and technology kind of started in high school. I was out of high school where we had a product design class, which was a very special class for like engineering. So I started working with live feedback then, and then in college I started like really diving into all of these concepts. And learning as Isadora, I did the classic, let me go on YouTube and watch 1,001 YouTube tutorials until I figure out how to do node-based programming, which I like to describe node-based programming as Legos for programmers. It's basically like you have all these cute little tools and you connect the dots, and then voila, you have your product, however you want to work the product out. But yeah, I mean, I've had like a very interesting journey of transitioning my idea of who I am from a choreographer to a creator, because I've started, especially in quarantine, doing a lot more technological work, both in Isadora, and I'm also working in Touch Designer. And I started playing around with like Instagram filters and Spark AR, which is really fun and like even simpler than Isadora. So yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting journey to go on. And then back in March, like literally the week before COVID hit, I went to CIRCE, which is the Conference for Research on Choreographic Interfaces. So I got to meet a lot of different technologists and scientists and dancers there. And I was like, oh my goodness, like this is the most incredible experience. And then COVID hit, and I was like, all right, how do I fit into this world? How can I be a dancer and a technologist and a creator and a performer, like all of these things at once? And it's just been this whole journey of discovering that all of those things are possible, and I just have to like put myself in that position and set myself up for it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And you're in San Francisco, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll
be in New York soon though.
Oh, okay, all right. Do you work with Kinetech Arts at all?
They were actually the first company that I saw do dance and technology live back in high school. I've never worked with them. It would be an incredible experience too. But I saw one of their solo pieces. I can't remember the title of it, but it was really interesting. It like blew my doors open for all of the possibilities. And they're an incredible company.
Right, yeah. Well, we know people over there, so we'll send you an email and connect you.
That would be awesome.
This is awesome. All right, well, Jonathan, do you have any last questions for anybody?
No, I think that's it for today.
All right. Yeah. We just want to thank all of our artists. Thank you all. This was so great. The recording will be up on YouTube probably immediately after this, so you can feel free to show your friends and family afterwards. But thank you so much for joining, and all the pieces were awesome, and we look forward to doing this again.
Oh, it's you. I know You're the one I dream of. Look into my eyes, take me to the clouds above. Oh, I lose control, can't seem to get enough. When I wake from dreaming, tell me, is it really love? How will I know? How will I know? How will I know? How will I know? How will I know if you really love me? I say a prayer with every heartbeat. I fall in love whenever we meet. I'm asking you what you know about these things. How will I know if you're thinking of me? I try to phone, but I'm too shy, can't speak. Falling in love is so bittersweet. This love is strong, why do I feel weak? If you love me, oh I'm shaking. If you love me not, wish I had your name.